When it comes to the Walt Disney Company, there can be no argument that one of its greatest strengths, going back to the very beginning, is the company's ability to tell a great story. It is just as important to focus on the techniques and benefits of storytelling in our marketing. But why exactly? Let's discuss it. Welcome to Marketing the Magic, our weekly show and community for business owners, marketers, and agency owners focused on practical digital marketing lessons inspired by the Disney parks, movies, marketing, and more. This week, we'll be discussing the importance of storytelling in marketing. But before we get to that, let's take a closer look at story and the Walt Disney Company. Disney excels at telling rich, complex stories that engage their entire ideal audience, kids, adults, and everyone in between. Take Wall-E, for example. At a glance, Wall-E might be thought to be a story about a robot who falls in love with another robot and then defeats a nasty villain, winning his paramour's affection in the process. Things are a bit more complex than that, though. That villain is the result of we humans having created such a mess that we needed an army of Wall-Es to begin with. Eventually, our poor robot friends grew unable to keep up with the mess, and so the humans fled to space under the control of an artificial intelligence. That AI then asserted its dominance, and the rest of the story unfolds. That's a bit more complex than a simple love story, I think. Disney's success in storytelling is most obvious when looking at the company as a whole, not just the movies. From exquisitely detailed theme parks and attractions based on the classic movies, to merchandising sold at the attractions, to new movies based on the rides, Disney is the master at creating deeply connected worlds in which we get to play and be entertained. The very best example that comes to mind of connected, complex storytelling across the Disney companies would be the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. Now, I'll be discussing this particular franchise in much greater detail in future episodes and discussions, but for now, let's look at the big picture. Pirates began, of course, as a Disney dark ride at the Disneyland park. It was the last one to be overseen by Walt himself, in fact. The story we experience on the ride itself is thrilling, immersing us in a world of swashbucklers and thieves and battles at sea, culminating in a drop down a dark flume. We're then deposited, of course, into a themed merchandise store. And I don't know about any others of you who've ridden Pirates and then walked through that store outside the ride, but I know I nearly always had to have a sword or an eye patch or some other trinket of the pirate experience. And that was just a month ago. Going beyond the merchandise connection, though, the ride eventually led to the well-known movie franchise starring Johnny Depp, of course, and that series is still one of my very favorites. The Pirates movies then began the circle back to influence the original attractions, and so now we have Jack Sparrow and the various movie villains to see when we ride. But the story's not over, oh no. At Shanghai Disneyland, there's now a totally new Pirates ride based exclusively on the storyline of the movies, and I, for one, can't wait to visit and experience it. It looks amazing. Now, the story of how the new ride at Shanghai came about is interesting. It actually came about because when the Disney Imagineers were researching Pirates of the Caribbean and the attractions they were going to build at Shanghai, it felt boring to the audience that they were talking to. And that's because they didn't grow up with it. They grew up with the action-packed Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and that's what they wanted to experience. Now, these connected pirate stories together combine to give us an incredibly detailed, rich collection of experiences, whether we grew up with the original rides or only joined the fun after seeing the movies. In marketing, too, we should always aim to create story-driven strategies and campaigns. The modern consumer or business decision maker is too smart, too connected, and too ready to go to our competitors if we are too simplistic or direct in our marketing. Now, that's not to say that traditional marketing channels are useless, but rather that any marketing we send into the world needs to exist within a greater, cohesive context. A story, if you will. But what do I actually mean by story-driven marketing? I'm not saying that every single tweet or blog post or direct mail brochure should be a self-contained, fully developed storyline, although each of those could be. It's most important instead to develop your company's or your client's story. How did the company come to be? Who are its ideal customers? What is the problem that the company solves for those customers? And is the marketing and are the staff consistent across any channels that the company utilizes to reach those customers? Answering these questions and developing a narrative behind your company and the people involved in it is where we should begin incorporating storytelling in our marketing. Now, whether you adopt a fully inbound or content-driven marketing strategy, or you focus on a single optimal channel, online or offline, take time to develop your story before your next campaign. Now, I hope you'll join us live on Wednesday or catch the replay when it's posted soon after on Facebook or YouTube, so you can join us in discussing the practical implications of storytelling and marketing. We'll be covering topics like originality, agility in marketing, and more on how to apply storytelling techniques to your marketing. For more information on our weekly live discussion stream, just visit mtm.live. If you liked this episode, we'd very much appreciate your feedback, and we post a new one every week, so be sure to subscribe for more marketing magic and Disney content. I hope to see you online real soon. Thanks.